Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. you know, I think Donald Trump, somebody need to advise him to stop talking. Just stop talking. Every time this man opens his mouth, he says stupid things, and it comes off stupid. It comes off like he is not even well educated in warfare. So, two things. Number one, he got on TV today and said the US has nothing else to blow up. So, in other words, they blew up everything they possibly could in Iran, and there's nothing left to blow up. So, he's making yet another attempt to try to figure out a way to end the war. Now, they had a big meeting. I think it was Russia, China, and some of the Arab nations that have been hit by Iran. And they're upset with Iran, but I noticed what's that guy's name? Lavkov said, no, it's not right just to be mad at Iran because some of the other Arab nations they are mad at Iran, because they were striking US bases inside of their countries. And he told them it's not right just to be mad at Iran. You should be mad at the US and Israel as well. You know, all Iran did was respond to being bombed by two countries. And that's what he told them. He did not seem at all like he was trying to give the US a way out. And why would Russia do that when they are allies with Iran? So they're going to look out for Iran. And that's exactly what he did when he was talking. He was really looking out for the best interests of Iran. He was not thinking about the US and Israel at all. In fact, he said what they did, just bringing on an attack out of nowhere on Iran, how that was wrong. Then Donald Trump said, I think it was yesterday, he said they're going to still get ships through the Straits of Hormuz, and the US will escort ships in and out of there. They got mines in the water. You escort anybody in there, everybody runs the risk of getting, you know, hitting an explosive mine and blowing up. And there's already been three ships, y'all, that hit mines and they caught on fire. And Donald Trump is talking about escorting people in and out of there. You're going to blow up. I said, this man really, truly don't understand warfare. See, this is where you have your generals talking to the public, not Pete Hegseth, not Donald Trump. You need a general that knows warfare addressing the public. As long as Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump do it, it's going to continue to be disastrous. They put if they put mines in the water so people can't get boats in and out of there, why would you escort somebody in there? I mean, seriously, the US is coming off as the dumbest country on earth with these two clowns doing all the talking. They sound like idiots. You have the military address the public at this point. The president has no knowledge and he comes off like he has no knowledge. So they put the mines in the water yesterday, y'all, just yesterday. And they said, Donald Trump is claiming they blew up 10. Yeah, but there could be hundreds in the water. And I'm sure at the end of the day, that's what they're going to do. They're going to put hundreds. And in fact, one of the videos I was watching, they showed how far down they can go in the water. So you don't even see them on the surface until you hit around that area, and the mine actually elevates up to the surface. I guess after feeling the motion of a ship going through there, it it rises up and then hits whatever vessel is there. So you might have hit the ones you saw sitting on top of the water, but there's always some, from what the way they were explaining, that's below the surface. Yeah, they did. They fired the generals and the admirals and the ones that had the knowledge. And now we are stuck with a drunk and an orange idiot telling us about what's going on over there on a regular basis, which and won't tell the truth. Still getting on TV, y'all, and telling everybody the US is winning. The US won, you know? And the thing is, I'm not even a politician or a military expert, but the way they explained it, I could understand. I could really understand. And putting mines in there, it's too dangerous to even attempt to go in there. And you're talking about escorting. And then he also lied and said the United States owns the Straits of Hormuz. And I said, that doesn't even sound right. How can you own a body of water? So I went and I looked it up. The US does not own the Straits of Hormuz, but Donald Trump went on TV yesterday and said the US own it and it's going to be opened back up. I said, oh my God. See, this is what happens when you got somebody with dementia addressing you. The US does not, nor have they ever owned the Straits of Hormuz. And on top of that, it's international water. The closest country that's to the Straits of Hormuz is Oman and Iran. But he lied and said the US owns the Straits of. I said, this is why we are never going to get the truth, y'all. You have to look at foreign news in order to get the truth. You are getting no truth from listening to this administration or the news here in the US. So I would advise you, don't waste your time on any United States news channel or listening to the Trump administration. The best knowledge you're going to get is from foreign news, period. That's the best news you're going to get on this war. You're absolutely not going to get it from anybody here. Either they're I'm convinced that the news is told to lie for Donald Trump, and they are following suit and doing it. So, all right. So let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. This is absolutely ridiculous. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. Thank you.
Strait of Hormuz, the exit point for ships carrying oil out of the Persian Gulf, is effectively closed tonight, trapping vessels offshore and forcing cuts to oil production, which is what's been driving up gas prices here at home. More now from Chief Correspondent Matt Gutman in Tel Aviv. Matt, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. Two U.S. officials tell us tonight that Iran has started to take steps to deploy naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point through which a fifth of the world's oil flows and a red line for the administration.
As U.S. warplanes target Iranian mine layers in the Persian Gulf, intelligence sources tell CBS News Iran is now moving towards placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz, defying stark warnings from the administration.
If Iran does anything to stop the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder.
Iran has also vowed not to let any oil leave the Persian Gulf until the U.S. and Israel stop their war.
So the mere perception of Iran having the capacity to hit one of those ships is enough to cause the insurers not to insure the ships coming through.
Exactly. You know, they just need one UAV to hit one tanker, and that's it. And they've already done that.
And Iran continues to lob dozens of missiles and drones, focusing fire on the Gulf states. At least one woman died in Bahrain when this residential building was hit. Another attack left an oil refining facility burning for days. Meanwhile, the U.S. and Israeli militaries claim they have crippled Iran's military with more than 5,000 attacks, one of them gutting this Tehran high-rise. Rescuers searching for survivors in that hollowed-out building, rubble as far as the eye can see. And Israel says it will continue to hit Iran's energy sector, the regime's lifeblood.
Is that something we could see more of, Israel attacking
We're operating against military targets that have a vital role in the Iranian war machine. And that's how we're prioritizing our targets, and we'll leave some surprises for the next few days.
And just a short time ago, Tony, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu again urged Iranians to rise up against the regime. But earlier today, Iran's chief of police going on television warning protesters that they will be viewed as the enemy and that his forces' fingers are on the trigger. Tony.
Matt Gutman for us again in Tel Aviv. Matt, thank you very much.
Iran has reportedly started laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical route for energy supplies. Let's go to our US correspondent, Reed Butler, for more on this. Reed, this is going to make getting fuel out of the region even more complicated.
This has come from US intelligence reports that suggest that Iran is planning to, or in some cases may already have, laid these mines in the Strait of Hormuz, which is a crucial shipping route already under so much pressure, and so much so that the world's top oil exporters warn that the industry is on the edge of catastrophe. More on that in a moment, but first look at these images on your screen here. This is the United States response to these reports about the laying of the mines. The US military says at least 16 mine-laying vessels have been destroyed today.
Iran is placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz. This is the exact reason why I say if we put boots on the ground, this is our generation's Vietnam.
U.S. intelligence has found evidence that Iran is placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has these small, high-speed boats where they can carry 2 to 3 mines at a time, and they're placing them throughout the strait. And they have the capabilities to deploy them quickly. Now, Iran is said to have thousands of these mines. These naval mines are not only produced in Iran, but also in Russia and China. Now, Trump had gotten wind of this, and he posted on Truth Social, if Iran is placing these mines in the Strait of Hormuz, he wants them removed immediately, in caps. He said if they're not removed forthwith, the military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before. About 13 minutes later, Trump posted. 13 minutes later. Sometimes when you're trying to report something and share information, it hits you. And it's just incredibly mind-boggling that some of these things come from a U.S. president. But 13 minutes later, he shared in a Truth Social post that within the last few hours, we have hit and completely destroyed 10 inactive mine-laying boats. So that's what he said. But 13 minutes prior, he wasn't sure that they even existed. And these intelligence reports have just come out. So I will keep you updated on all of these things. As it stands right now, gas prices and energy prices are going to continue to rise. In fact, in LA, it was over $8 a gallon yesterday. That's incredible. I will keep you updated on all of these things. Please like, follow, and share so that I can continue to provide you with content. And I'm going to be posting a lot more over on Facebook. So if you're not following me there, please do. Thank you.
I want to know which country is going to go through the Strait of Hormuz now. I want to know which country is going to take the chance, like Wigzara said, and go through the Strait of Hormuz. Because baby, Iran said, bet. Y'all want to fuck with us? You want to talk about taking the strait? Bitch, we going to line that hole with naval mines. They put naval mines in the water. They don't even have to be there, bro. Wigzara's got up there and taunted, talking about he's going to take over the Strait of Hormuz, and told other countries to go ahead and bring their oil rigs. Go ahead and come on through. When y'all going to stop fucking with Iran? Because baby, after I heard that and then I saw it, I was like, yeah, who finna take that fucking chance? If y'all don't know, gas price is about to be $200 a barrel. I'm just being real. Iran said that shit this week. Now, gas was supposed to go down to $90 a barrel this Friday. I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. I'm not too sure. But Iran didn't call Wigzara's bluff. And they made it very clear. They ready for this war to go long, like 10-year long. They said they got 10 years worth of shit to give us. I don't want no parts of that. I just don't.
Iran has begun mining the Strait of Hormuz. Naval mines are now appearing in the shipping lanes of one of the world's most important oil routes. Only 9 ships have crossed this strait since the war began, and now the risk has just become far more dangerous. According to recent U.S. intelligence reports, Iran has started deploying naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz, raising fears that this narrow passage could soon become a prolonged maritime hazard. This escalation comes as tensions between Iran, the United States, and Israel intensified after strikes that began on February 28, 2026. Within days, ships in and around the strait began coming under attack. Insurance costs surged, shipping companies pulled back, and tanker captains started avoiding the route altogether. Traffic collapsed quickly. Tanker movements through the strait dropped by more than 90%, leaving hundreds of vessels waiting outside the Persian Gulf, while thousands of seafarers remain trapped in increasingly dangerous waters. Now the mines are raising the stakes even further. So far, intelligence suggests only a few dozen mines have been deployed, likely placed by small boats capable of carrying just 2 or 3 mines at a time. But the real concern is Iran's capacity. Analysts estimate the country still has thousands of naval mines and the ability to deploy many more, potentially turning the strait into a dangerous minefield. And clearing those mines would not be easy. Even with modern mine-sweeping technology, it could take weeks or even months to fully secure the passage. Washington has responded with growing urgency. U.S. President Donald Trump has demanded the mines be removed immediately, warning of severe military consequences if they are not. Tehran, however, is refusing to back down. Iranian officials say the strait is not officially closed, but warn that ships linked to the United States or Israel may not pass safely. Senior figures such as Ali Larijani have also warned that hostile vessels entering these waters could face serious consequences. With traffic already down by more than 90% and only 9 ships passing through in recent weeks, the Strait of Hormuz has become one of the most dangerous flashpoints on Earth. So what do you think will happen next? Could this crisis escalate even further? Share your thoughts in the comments and follow Map Narratives for more global map stories and geopolitical breakdowns.
The worst outcome is starting to happen. Iran is placing sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz, which is problematic for 3 reasons. The first one is pretty obvious. They explode and ships can't go through there because they don't want to explode. The second bit of this is that these are easy to place, but darn near impossible to clean up. By most estimates, they have around 3,000 to 6,000 sea mines. This is distinctly different than establishing deterrence through missile strikes or having an active navy in the area. And that is because mines don't care what you are. If you hit them, they blow up. This effectively shuts off shipping in the Strait of Hormuz for the world. And on top of that, it is going to spike the prices of insuring shipment. And here's that third thing. If Iran wants to come back to the negotiating table, well, they're going to have to figure out a way to pull thousands of mines out of the ocean. This is not the nuclear option, but it's
reported tonight. U.S. Central Command has released video showing U.S. airstrikes destroying multiple Iranian naval ships, including 16 mine layers near the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most important waterway for the shipment of oil. Now, the development comes after sources say Iran has begun laying mines in the strait, which the war has effectively shut down. Brian Kilmeade of Fox News says this is what the president told him in a phone interview.
Tell these tankers to get to it. We've wiped out most of their launchers. Here's exactly what he said. These ships should go through the Strait of Hormuz and show some guts. There's nothing to be afraid of. They have no navy. We sunk all their ships. He went on to say, he said, look, yeah, there's risk in the region.
A lot to discuss with Captain Jim Staples, a cargo ship captain and maritime safety consultant who sailed the Strait of Hormuz more than 100 times. Captain, appreciate you being with us. So you've had to navigate sea mines in your career. Can you just walk people through what that is like and how those mines work and the kind of damage one mine can do?
Yeah, after the Persian Gulf War, we still had quite a few mines, and there were some minefields heading up towards Kuwait. And they had swept the lanes, so we would go up the lanes. It'd be one-way traffic, minefields on either side, and then we'd go into port. But stray mines can always drift into the lanes. You never know, so it's always treacherous. It's dangerous. It's never 100%, but the key is to get those lanes swept. And they do lay around for a long time, a long period of time. They're still finding mines popping up from World War II, so mines are a scary thing to be dealing with as a mariner, as a ship's captain, when you're sailing ships up there, especially when you're loaded with ammunition. So it's something we don't want to fool around with, but it can be handled, and with the proper escorts and the mine sweepers up there, they can make the lanes probably pretty safe.
You heard the Fox host saying that the president told him the tankers in the region need to, quote, show some guts. If that's an accurate characterization, what do you say to that?
Well, it isn't guts that get you through the minefields. It's mine sweepers that get you through the minefield. So, taking a ship up into a known minefield would be probably a very eventful situation. You know, you're looking at pollution. You're looking at an environmental problem up in that area. It wouldn't be a good decision for a captain to take a ship through a minefield that hasn't been swept. But again, if we get them swept, it's just another day at sea.
You know, a lot of people are pointing to kind of the insurance companies, saying it's the insurers who won't insure vessels that go through. Is that at the root of the problem, or is it just the inherent vulnerability of any ship that goes through, whether it's insured or not?
Oh, that's a big problem, is the insurance. A lot of the owners don't want to move their ships unless they have the insurance to cover the any kind of damage or death to the crew. So yeah, that's one of the biggest problems. I think if they had the insurance on those ships, there'd be a lot more ships moving.
And in terms of vulnerability, a ship's vulnerability to drones, how big of a concern would that be for you as a captain?
Oh, very similar to mines. You know, the drones, as we saw in the Red Sea, that seems to be one of the big problems, is the drones and the missiles that they can get out to you. It's not just the mines that you'd be concerned with in the straits, because the straits are so narrow. It could be any kind of launched missile that they could, shoulder fired rockets, things like that, that they can launch from small boats. You know, the small boats are a threat. You know, let's not forget what happened to the Cole with one small boat that was loaded with ammunition. You know, that was a combatant vessel that was taken down, and they're built for that type of damage. They have great damage control. The military trains for that all the time. Merchant marine ships, not the case. We have very little damage control type equipment on board the merchant ships. MSC will carry a lot more, but we don't have that type of sustainment to keep a ship afloat the way they do. So that's the big problem with big open holes on a ship. You're looking at a flooding situation that could happen very rapidly. So, from a drone, from a mine, a small handheld missile, those are the threats that we'd be looking at now going up through that area. The small boats are definitely a challenge. They're like a swarm of bees that when they come after you, you know, so there's quite a few of them. But if they have escorts up there, also with air support, I believe they can maneuver the ships pretty easily. We'll go back to the old convoy systems that we used to use. I understand the French are now sending 10 ships up that way to help with the escort. So, you know, if we can get an international fleet up there, that's going to make a big difference. But I think you'll start seeing the ships move probably within a week.
Yeah. Well, Captain, I really appreciate your expertise. It's really a pleasure to talk to you, Captain Jim Staples. Thank you.
All right. So, y'all, as you can see, they already put the mines in. Like I said, you can go online. 3 ships have already caught on fire. So, look, Donald Trump and this, we're going to escort people through. Yeah, I guess if you want to die, you listen to Donald Trump. But if you want to live, don't listen to Donald Trump or Pete Hegseth, you know? So, y'all, I got my next live at 1:45. China has physically threatened the U.S. You know, a lot of countries around the world don't like what Israel and the United States did, this preemptive strike on Iran. And leaders around the world have been speaking out against it. China is showing how much they don't like it. And they said, if the U.S. and Israel don't back off of Iran, they are going to get up in the air and fight side by side with Iran. So China is threatening to get in the war. If the U.S. continues on along with Israel, they're going to get physically involved. So China is, and you'll hear exactly, you know, from China during my next live, and they're going to get involved in the war, you know, and Russia will too. That's why Donald Trump is an idiot for talking to Putin. At the end of the day, Putin can't side with the U.S. He's allies with Iran. And if you're talking to Putin, he's going to relay that whole conversation to Iran. He's not the ally of the U.S. Donald Trump, like I said, you need somebody that is smart in war strategies. Donald Trump don't have the smarts. He's stupid. But I listen to Russia. Russia is very much with Iran. It doesn't matter that Donald Trump called Putin. They are very much with Iran. I listened to everything they were saying. They are not with the U.S. So Donald Trump will sell us all out, y'all. He will sell us all out. For real. You know, the only thing Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump will do is go in a bunker. Now, see, they weren't concerned about, not deeply concerned about mainland America getting hit directly from Iran because they only have short to medium range missiles. They can reach the countries all around them. But according to what I heard, they don't have long range missiles that could reach the U.S. But China does. China does. So if China gets involved, they most certainly can send some sort of long range missile over here to bomb mainland USA. So, yeah, so this is getting really ugly. It really is. And last night, Iran, they hit Israel with a 2-ton bomb last night. What they're trying to do, they're attempting to take out Israel's Iron Dome. That's why they sent that bomb. and they got more according to what they were saying. So they sent the 2-ton bomb, their first attempt to take out the Iron Dome. And they said they got more, plenty of more of those 2-ton bombs that they can fire off. So y'all stay prayed up and listen. You know, always try to stay on top of what's going on, because as you can see, this government is all about making themselves look good. They do not have our best interests at heart. Every time Donald Trump goes in front of the cameras lying, and Pete had said, they're letting you know they don't have our best. They don't have the interests of the citizens at all. They are just concerned about trying to make themselves look good. That is more important above all else. So I will see you at 1:45. Shalom, family.